Hello, one and all, for a dramatic reading of Tales from the Barbs from Tokyo Death Comics. Meet the self-made man who needed an extra hand or two. Max Sharp, born in Nashville, was the only son of the owner of the store, DIY or Die. After playing with Dad's tools, he was a DIY prodigy by the age of 3. Inspired by a TV show depicting body modification, Max modded his own body. He grafted his arms onto his head to make precision engineering easier. Now he could fashion screws 0.1 millimeter thin. Unlike other children, he would spend recess counting the number of threads on his screws. Max's odd appearance made him a target for ridicule. One day a classmate called him Crab Man, and an enraged Max crucified him against the school wall. Thereafter, Crab Man became a taboo word. By using these terror tactics, Max had, by the age of 15, accrued a gang of more than 50, armed with modded hammers, drills, and chainsaws from the store. Whenever they smashed a rival gang, he'd hammer a nail into his jaw as a kind of trophy. Max led a dual existence. By day, he was the owner of the DIY store, but by night, he was a merchant of death, selling DoD arms, branded modded weapons to all and sundry. There wasn't a single soul in the underworld who didn't know his name. Max would have gone on making a killing like this until a brawl in the bar changed his life forever. One evening at his usual bar, some youths picked a fight with him. At first he ignored him, but then one of the punks yelled at Max, "What are you staring at, Crab Man?" Everyone in the bar fell silent, waiting to see whether the taboo word would be Max's cue to vent his rage. Max pulled an electric screwdriver out of his bag and was about to crucify the punk against the wall when the bar owner intervened, and the youth fled the bar at full pelt. And yet the punk's words gnawed at Max, and his rage, rather than abating, took deeper root. Max, his body bristling with every power tool, went to each punk's house and massacred their families. He used his power tools to mod the corpses into pieces of furniture. Having murdered 23 people, as only a true do-it-yourselfer could, Max was arrested. But just then the Earth-Ridge global tectonic shift hit, and from out of nowhere a flying saw decapitated him. At age 45, he was dead. At his funeral, his torso was buried without a head. Volume 2. A tale of ill-fated lovers and an explosive romance. Colonel Jackson was born in Los Angeles. As a kid, he was fascinated by action movies with muscle-bound heroes and got hooked on weight training. Jackson became a soldier in the U.S. Allied Forces, advanced to the rank of colonel, joined the war ensemble, and developed weapons. He was also a narcissist, using anything reflective, even a weapon, to check himself out, and was often spotted naked and admiring his well-toned physique. Jackson was particularly skilled at making bombs and became known as the Happy Bomber. When testing his bombs, he loved to feel the blast against his skin like a soft caress, often doing these tests in the nude. He soon became addicted to the thrill and acquired a bad habit of taking selfies in front of the explosions. He shared the photos on social networks and engineered increasingly hazardous photo ops to get more likes until Jackson was never really into girls, and his friends used to give him shit for it. Then one day he met someone who showed him affection for the first time. That man was Johnny, his army subordinate and love of his life. They met while watching the international hit movie Chuck Norris vs. Predator 4 on opening day. He remembered wearing out the videotape starring these heroes of his childhood, and Johnny was in the seat next to him in the theater. After learning they were assigned to the same squad, he felt the pull of destiny. They went out to eat together afterwards and hit it off immediately. They promised to be together forever, and though they tried, they were eventually separated by the same fate that had brought them together. Jackson finally paid the price for his bad habit. The War Ensemble's new cluster bomb was about to be tested. True to form, right at the edge of the safety zone, Jackson was readying to take a selfie. Wanting to take a photo to mark their engagement, Jackson had dragged Johnny along. However, the bomb turned out to be a lot more powerful than expected, and they were blown away. Sitting up in a cloud of dust, Jackson called out, but no answer came. Half of Johnny's body was missing. Jackson became deranged with grief. He resigned the army and returned to L.A., where all he could do was continuously cry out, "Johnny." One day, he went into town clutching his selfie stick, and indiscriminately threw 43 hand grenades. But as he was being arrested, the Earth Rage global tectonic shift hit. The explosion from a flying grenade cleaved Jackson's head off his shoulders. He was dead at age 32. Only his beautifully toned torso remained. Volume 3. The Tale of a Geriatric Youth with a Dangerous Mystical Obsession. The story goes that when the child prodigy Crowley was born in a village of Sweden, he emerged from the womb chanting the digits of pi like an incantation. At 17, he entered university, eventually gaining a PhD, a leader in the field of plasma physics. It was said his work would one day be paradigm-shifting. He also became famous for his game Thunder Revolution, which features a wizard, which made him the tabletop RPG group, which he made with the tabletop RPG group Candlewolf. But things were not as they seemed. Despite his youth, Crowley's skin became wrinkled. His friends just dismissed it as too much studying. Then one day, Crowley vanished. His family searched for him frantically, but as the weeks went by, there was no sign of him. Just as the missing person poster began to fade, disaster struck the town. Bolts of lightning exploded out of the clear blue sky, quite literally a bolt out of the blue. The lightning bolts burned the town to cinders, killing more than 200 people. The government assembled an expert response team, but they drew no conclusion except that it was a freak natural occurrence. People lived in fear of the next strike. At the same time that the lightning hit, Crowley appeared in town. No one believed it was him. He now entirely resembled the aged wizard from the game he had so proudly created. Crowley explained that he had performed plastic surgery on himself so that he'd resemble the wizard, and that the bolts from the blue were his own handiwork. The police laughed at first, but their smiles vanished when they set foot inside Crowley's hideout. There they found the beautiful yet repulsive plasma weapon that Crowley had created. The game card depicting the aged wizard Crowley had become, and his surgical instruments. The lightning strike was the fallout of his desire to be a wizard. Crowley confessed everything. But just then the Earth Rage global tectonic shift hit, and a mysterious lightning bolt struck him dead. The Thunder Revolution cards were thrown into the air, and as they dropped to the floor, Crowley's head mysteriously vanished from his shoulders. He was dead at age 17. His wizened old head, the ultimate in RPG cosplay, has never been found. Volume 4. The story of an ambitious sumo with an appetite for victory and flesh. Born in Japan, Taro Gunkanyama excelled at every sport. Speed skating was his only weak point. Although of small build, he was a natural athlete. After graduating, he announced he was going to be a sumo wrestler, despite not meeting the minimum height requirements. He did, however, manage to pass the medical examination tests by hiding a model battleship inside his coiffure, earning him the wrestling name Gunkanyama, Mount Battleship. Gunkanyama excelled at sumo, and his fans hoped that he'd topple the foreign-born wrestlers who dominated the rankings. However, something strange was occurring in the athletics world. A total of 18 wrestlers and athletes of large build went missing. With no leads, the daily tabloids were splashed with weird rumors ranging from alien abduction to national intrigue. TV shows even had psychics try to divine their whereabouts, all to no avail. Something was also afoot at the sumo stable. Their suppliers changed, and the meat that didn't seem like beef, pork, or chicken began to appear in their chanko stew. Although some did dare to eat the mystery meat, it tasted so strange they'd spit it out. But Gunkanyama gobbled it up as if he knew exactly what kind of meat it was. He grew rapidly to be 7 foot 10 inches tall and rose to the sumo rankings to the very top. The Gunkanyama era had dawned. No sooner had he won a Grand Slam than Gunkanyama announced his retirement from sumo. Although sad to say goodbye to the sumo world, Gunkanyama had founded the Muscle International League Killers, a squad of athletes skilled in hand-to-hand combat. They modded rackets, bats, javelins, archers' bows, and other sports apparatus, turning them into weapons, creating a mixed martial art that was almost baroque in its cutthroat violence. The MILK games struck a chord, even topping the ratings of all the New Year's Eve shows. However, the bouts were so extreme that many contenders were killed, even during practices. Dark rumors began to swirl. Gunkanyama convened a meeting, but it was interrupted by the Earth Rage global tectonic shift. A speed skating boot came flying. A speed skating boot came flying, striking and decapitating Gunkanyama. He was dead at 28. The whereabouts of his head, still unknown. Well, thank y'all. I hope you enjoyed this little dramatic reading, even though I kind of mumbled here and there. Have a nice day, and bye.